everybody. If you love combat sports such as Kyokushin karate, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, BJJ, wrestling, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drewsperience channel on all platforms such as YouTube for video and audio. If you don't have time to listen, it's on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. We'd like to say thank you to a few supporters. First, One Kyokushin, then KRT Tips and Tricks, Martial Way, Real Talk with Terry Burkett and Scott Heaney, and lastly, Moments Management and Cops Gym if you're a European fighter out in Europe. And today, my guest, wow, this is a big one. I'm so amped. Been waiting to have this for a long time. Like, I got to thank, first of all, Andre Barquero and my other friend, Paul Dominic, for really pushing this to happen. I got royalty here. He's BJJ royalty, but he's not just BJJ royalty. He's fought in MMA, and now he's turning out not only amazing pro fighters, but amazing human beings in Philadelphia. The one, the only, I'm proud to present Master Daniel Gracie of Daniel Gracie BJJ. Welcome to the Drewsperience, Daniel.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me. I like that you pumped me up. That's it. I love it. It's my pleasure to be here again. Like I heard great things about you, and again, it's a pleasure.
I'm really honored that you heard about me. It means like I'm doing something right, especially if you're saying that. I appreciate the very kind words. And this is just such a, like, right now, Daniel Gracie BJJ is just on it keeps rising. It's on a fast track. You know, first of all, I want to also say congratulations to all the new fighters that signed their first pro contracts. There was like, I think 5 that you had. I can't remember the names of them. If you want to give their names, go right ahead, because they deserve mention.
Isa, look, some of them are Russians, Albanians. I have no idea how to say their last name. But Isa, I know. So Isa Dalipaj, Manny Morales, Jamie Colleen, Itzo, I can't say Itzo's last name. He's Georgian. And Sean Brady. Sean Brady now is with Moments MMA.
Very, very good choice. I'm really happy you guys are in great hands with Nima. He's going to make sure to tell you about the ins and outs of the fight game. So don't worry, guys. I'm thrilled for all of you. This is a big win. This is the first step. Now it's up to you guys. You're the masters of your fate. So do well. Listen to your master Daniel for training. And when it comes to management, I'm just going to say, always seek advice from Nima. He will be there for you.
Yeah, again, he's a great person, great friend now. The fact that he's my cousin's black belt, he's one of Half's black belts. And, it's just, I can see what I needed. Everyone wants to pretend that they have that Jerry Maguire thing as a manager. But to really present that to the fighter, to the person, it's a different game. And I know that Nima does that. Nima, why? Because he's a martial artist, because he has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So he understands the respect and the family, bond that we have, as fighters, as coaches. And we just needed that. And he's going to give it to us 100%.
Amazing. Well, the show's about you. I mean, I could go on in days for about how much Nima is just a great human being overall, and he's going to come back on the show soon. But I want to ask you, Daniel. Obviously, the name you have, it's Daniel Gracie. So I always ask, how did you get started in martial arts? But my question is, how did you get introduced to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, we kind of like born on the mats. Like we got introduced to jiu-jitsu really early on our life. Not training itself, just getting used to the mats. Like we play on the mats. The mats were like our playground when we were little kids. So sometimes we would jump in the middle of classes, of adults classes, and the adults would be playing with us. Sometimes we just like wait the classes to be over, and then we like just run around the mats, doing like what kids do. But it's funny because people think that, okay, you're born in this family and you're going to get pushed to jiu-jitsu right away. We understand that if you push the kid to jiu-jitsu, they're going to hate jiu-jitsu. They have to come on their own. And we have to push them. 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 And we have to So I remember starting training when I was 6, 7 years old, but not, I didn't really train that I remember until I was 10. When I was 10 years old and I started to train, I never stopped anymore. Uh, it was funny because the time that we started to train, my mother and Hansel's high and house mother, they're this sisters, my mom and Hansel's mom. They moved far from where we train. What is in Copacabana? The first school that was Carlos Gracie Jr. and Carson Gracie. That was the old Halls Gracie school. They took over after Halls died, but that was in Copacabana, and we lived nearby. But then we moved to Barra da Tijuca, what was far away, and we stopped training for a few years because of that. 6 and 10 years old, we didn't have jiu-jitsu, but that's when we start to surf. You know, we start to it was amazing when we moved to Baja, because Baja was a neighborhood. There was like all nature, the beach and the forest. And it was everything. It was right on the on the big mountain.
I think we lost. I lost you on the camera there.
I don't.
Oh, wait a second. Looks like a call came in, or who knows. He's gonna come back, people. Don't worry. Happens when you podcast. There we go. All right. Oh. There we go. No, I can't. It's okay. We're having some there we go. It's weird. It's weird. It's okay. Here, I'm gonna send a message. Ooh. Can you hear me now? There we go. Can you hear me now? No? Weird. Okay. Can you hear me now? Let's see. That's weird. Okay, let's try again. Hey. There we go. There we go. It's connecting. It's connecting. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's bad. Like if someone called me, the Zoom just dropped. What happened?
I don't know. That's really weird. That's what happens with Zoom, man. But it's okay. It's okay. It's good. You came back. We didn't give up. We persevered. That's what martial arts is. It's okay. And then we're going to include this part in here too, because look, I'm not a pro podcaster. This is what happens when you're on the up and coming. You got to show these raw moments, because then that's what makes everyone like each other, and it helps us grow as humans because it shows the human side.
It was weird. Someone called me.
Yeah.
I did not call, but then somehow he answered the call, and the call was together with your video, and then I couldn't get out of the call anymore.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Technology, as I said, we're terrible with it.
So this space of time, like in between, like we're like 6, 5. Remember, we own the house that there's, 20 people at the same time living on the same house. It was a big house. There was 2 floors, and my mom lives on the top floor, and Hanzo's mom lives on the bottom floor. But on that time, we've discovered surfing, the beach, and then nature. We used to go like this up this mountain almost every weekend, just to hike and exercise. So it was a fun time, that we had on that time. On this period of time, one of our neighbors, he started to train in Copacabana, okay, and he drove there twice a week, and that's when me and Half started to get a ride with him, and that's when we started to train again. Me and Half started to train again. Hein was little. Hein was not training yet, but it was just a little, like a short period of time, because then Carlos Gracie Jr. moved to Baja and opened Gracie Baja in Baja. And then we never stopped training again. Then it was jiu-jitsu forever.
Amazing. So during this time, this is also during the time in Brazil when martial arts is really becoming mainstream, because not only is jiu-jitsu growing rapidly, and then you have the story where Horian starts going to California slowly, but also in Brazilian martial arts, kickboxers are starting to come up, like the Glauber Feitosas, the Francisco Fijos, who I'm sure, and you were Tinteixeiras, who I'm sure you're aware of. So what do you feel? Do you feel that period was?
You know why I knew them?
How did you knew them?
Because I used to play video games with their names.
Get out.
Yeah, I had the K1 video game, and me and my brother, we always play with them on the K1 video game. And then when we start to know, like, of course, when I start to fight in Japan and I saw these people there, like, holy shit, I used to play video game with that. Miko Krokop, when Krokop came to MMA, people like, well, who's this guy? I'm like, I know who's this guy. Play video games with his character. So it was funny. But exactly at the same time. But the thing is, remember, on that time, for us, there's no MMA. For us, okay, jiu-jitsu against the world. It was proving that jiu-jitsu was the best martial art. We didn't have any striking. Our striking was limited to defense. That little stumble, like the kick, the front kick. And, sometimes we would slap in front of people's face and double leg them. But then we hit the ground. We knew what we were doing. Again, it was just to prove that jiu-jitsu was the most effective martial art in the world. And we did that. Okay, so when Horion did the UFC and all that, the world knew what was going on. But we've been doing that way before in Brazil, fighting capoeira, karate, judo, like with every other martial art that claimed to be the best. We used to fight them from like many generations before that. So it's well, Sean Brady's calling me now.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So again, look, it's hold and accept. That's the options they're giving to me. And an accept. Well, you see, I cannot deny the call. That's the problem.
Just wait for it to go. It's gonna go. Don't worry. It happens. It happens. And then
after. Yeah, perfect. I'm back. Yeah. You see, perfect. Now I had to wait.
You're a busy guy. I understand. Look, this happens, as I said, but it makes the show cool because it shows how in demand you are. And then and then people are going to see this and they're going to say, wow, you got Master Daniel Gracie. He's got this guy calling him. How did you do it? And so you got to look at the positives. I go with the flow. I'm a type B person. It's like, I just go with the flow, man.
Yeah. Well, because I'm doing from the phone, I should be doing from the, but again, I just finished a class. I came. Yeah. So what I was saying, and then when Carlos Gracie Jr. moved to Baja, we started to train in Baja, and that was fun because we already had friends. We already had, that was our neighborhood. That was our place. And then we brought all our friends to train jiu-jitsu with us in our gym. And I don't know if you know about Gracie Baja, but Gracie Baja on that time was the best and the most, like the biggest team in the world. We won, I don't know how many world championships because of that, because our friendship was already established when we started to train jiu-jitsu together with our friends. And now, of course, we are old, but we're still friends. And we're building, things that, it's hard. If you're not from the martial art business, you're not going to know. But people that knows about martial arts, they know. We're building like a bunch of champions, a bunch of, big teams in jiu-jitsu, in MMA, and everything. So it's good to see where jiu-jitsu is now, because that started with Carlos Gracie a long time ago, and he had the vision that jiu-jitsu would be where it is today, and people didn't listen to him. Now we know.
So yeah, because it's funny you mention that, because I bought Rickson Gracie's book Flow, and I remember there was a part where they spoke about how Helio had his vision, but Carlos had his vision. Is that right?
Yeah, well, they were together the whole time. Okay, Helio didn't do anything without asking Carlos first. That's the pure truth. Okay, Carlos, of course, they love each other. They're together the whole time.
They were like this. You couldn't separate them.
But Carlos was the coach. Helio was the fighter. Okay, and they actually respect each other's side. Like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what you have to do. They were a team already on that time, and there's no difference. The brothers never had that thing that that split. They were always together, and it hurts me to see some guys today saying that Helio started the whole thing, Carlos started the whole thing. No, Carlos started the whole thing with the idea. Okay, now Carlos and Helio had the same importance to jiu-jitsu and MMA today, because they started together. They start something together. And I hate to see people separated. Like, I see schools sometimes with Helio's picture on the wall and schools with Carlos pictures on the wall. I think everyone should have both. I really think, because they did it together, not just by them, one or the other. They were together doing this whole thing.
What's amazing. So, and I think it's important because, as you said, there are revisionists that want to like rewrite, and it's not right. You like, for example, I do Kyokushin karate. It's the same thing we have, where after Masoyama died, there was all like a bunch of split ups. Everyone went in their own way, and it hurts the art. It just hurts it, because it's hurting the value of what the art should be, where there shouldn't be like, well, this person did this or this person said that. This is why we have their picture on the wall. Like, no, it should all be one. It's like, and we're all learning the same kicks. You're all learning the same, like the same leg locks or the same submissions. It's just like, you gotta respect the founders regardless.
Regardless, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So that's the thing. Like, on that time, they have to prove something. Okay, so it was harder to come with a new martial art and saying, okay, we are going to take you down and finish you, and you're not going to be able to move. And they have to prove it. Why? Because people didn't believe yet. Today, if you say, I'm a jiu-jitsu fighter, they know what it is, right? On that time, there was not, like, nobody knew what it was. Okay, so Carlos had his side of like being the trainer, making sure Helio eat it good, making sure Helio sleep good, and making sure everything was all right, so he could go and kick people's ass to prove that it was the best. And they grew up together doing that. They grew jiu-jitsu together doing that. The first, I don't remember who told me that Carlos Gracie's first book about jiu-jitsu was all the philosophy, no jiu-jitsu position. And people get frustrated when they bought the book, because they bought the book thinking that there was going to be techniques inside, and there was only philosophy about jiu-jitsu, how jiu-jitsu could make you better, how jiu-jitsu was invented, and everything. and people get frustrated. They didn't understand the concept. Now people know what it is, because when they get into jiu-jitsu, it's an addiction. Like it's a big family, and this kind of stuff he tried to explain on the book, and nobody understood. Look, again, someone calling again.
Don't worry, we're gonna keep rolling. As Bert Watson goes, we rolling. Doesn't matter how.
Yeah, it's the options that give me: hold and accept, and accept.
Yeah. Hold and accept, and accept.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't know if and accept the call, or it has to be, you know, or hold and accept the call.
I would end and accept. See what happens.
Okay.
There we go.
Run away.
You figure it's okay. Technology. It's okay. It's that I don't judge. I'm terrible at technology too. So I need some help. I need to hire a coach, man. I'm gonna have to hire a coach for technology, man. There's a flow.
We better learn, because we're gonna be behind. That's what it's today.
It is. So I want to also ask you, because you fought professional, you not only you fought in Pride, you fought in Bellator, you also fought in Israel. So by the way, I'm Jewish, you know, I'm not, but I've been to Israel 4 times. I don't identify with the country. It's a beautiful country. When you went there, what was your favorite food you had there? I have to ask that.
Man, I had this, I don't know if it was a pita bread. I don't know what it was. I think it was a pita bread, okay? But it came like a bubble. Numb, it could be numb bread.
Yeah. Naan bread, yeah, pita, it's the Indian bread.
Yeah, so this bread, I want to remember the name of that food, because it was kind of like a Jewish fast food. Gorilla something was the name of the place. Gorilla something, but they man, let me tell you, that was the best thing I ever had in my life. This bread, just the bread itself. So there was hummus coming with that, some salad, something. But I used to go to this place just to eat the bread. The bread was amazing. Now, I don't know the name of the food, but there's a chicken that was mixed with onion and nuts and some. Let me tell you, one of the best food I ever had in my life, and one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. Tel Aviv was amazing. I was like, I will move to a place like that. I will move to a place like that 100%.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. I mean, like, there's so much to do there. I mean, I've been all across I've been to the south. You'll love Tel Aviv, but I'm telling you, when you go to the south, you're not gonna like it so much, because the heat is like, look, I know you're from Brazil. Brazil's got some really hot weather, but the Middle Eastern heat is a different ball game of hot. And the south down there, it's like you're sweating, like you could be wearing white and you're sweating, and it's just too much. But the heat in Jerusalem, that one you have to be careful with, because it's a dry heat. It plays with your head. So you have to always have like a bottle of water ready.
Like Las Vegas heat. Las Vegas heat is like that sometimes too.
Really?
Like, it's dry, yeah. It's like the desert. But I went to some places there. I don't Batyan.
But I don't know if these are the cities I know. Obviously Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Beersheba, Haifa, and
yeah, Batyan. I think. You know what it looks like? It looks like me growing up in the place that I told you, Baja de Tijuca. It was the same ocean, like the color of the ocean, the temperature of the water. It reminds me when I was a kid growing up in Baja de Tijuca, like this place, Batyan. From Batyan, I could see Tel Aviv. So it's near Tel Aviv. I love it, man. That was a good experience. So why I end up there? I did a hiatus of like 5 years without fighting. And I get invited by Haim Gonzalez, what is one of Renzo's black belt, the one that has Renzo Gracie, Tel Aviv. And Renzo Gracie Tel Aviv, or Renzo Gracie, I think Renzo Gracie Israel. I think that's how he called. So that's Haim. Haim is one of Renzo's black belts. His son and himself were fighting Bellator.
Yeah.
His son has, I think, the fastest submission ever in MMA with the that Japanese guy that does the Imanari roll.
Yeah.
So he finished with the Imanari roll on Bellator. It was the fastest submission of the MMA ever. So they teach in there, and he did the first ever MMA show of Israel, and he invited me. Right away I go, yes, let's go. So we went there, and that was amazing. Like I love the experience. It was amazing.
That's amazing, and I really think what's interesting too now about Israel is the Ghazalis. There was a pioneer that fought in the early UFCs. I always forget his name, and it's bad because I'm like a savant with MMA. Like Nima could tell you. Nima would be like, "Yeah, Drew knows like stuff that like I didn't expect him to know." That's just me. But like now, Israel's turning into slowly. They're turning into an MMA power, an MMA nation. Like it's nice to see. You have the Ghazalis. You had Noad Lahat. You've had there was a guy that fought in the Contender Series. Didn't make it, but still puts prevalence for Israel. And then you have I had him on my show recently, Eli, the Israeli tank Aronov, who's a middleweight prospect. So it's nice to see. It's really nice to see that the Middle East is turning out some MMA killers now. Not Dagestan, which we all know there's Dagestan and Russia, but it's
great.
They are. But the Middle East is an untapped powerhouse that we're not looking to. So where do you feel, you've been to Israel, which countries do you say we should be looking out for in the Muslim world? Like for say sub-Sahara Africa, like Egypt, Syria, Iran, etc. Like which countries do you feel have the most potential?
Egypt, it's coming. Like I had a group of Egyptians that came to train with me in New York, in Brooklyn, and man, let me tell you, their Greco-Roman was amazing. Okay, amazing. Like I'm talking about like top level, and I had no idea those kids were like Olympians. They're like really good. One of them is actually 5-0 right now, heavyweight. You can expect this guy on the UFC killing people. Hamdi, I think is Mohammed, if I'm not wrong, his last name. But Hamdi is a powerhouse. I'm talking about a guy that is not fat, he's not so heavy, but when he grabs people, doesn't matter their size, he's killing them. And right now, he fought bare knuckles. He's a pro now, and he's 5-0 pro. And I stay in touch with him because I want him to be successful, even though he's not coming to train with me. I invited him to come train with me. He's at Killer B right now with Brian Wright, if I'm not wrong. But he's going to be soon someone that is going to be on the UFC. And the group of people that were with him, I don't remember everyone's name. I have an Egyptian fighter that trains with us here now, Fadi. He's also a great Greco-Roman wrestler. He's learning how to knock people out. So the two fights that he had, we're thinking, okay, he's going to use his Greco-Roman. He did 2 amateur fights training here with us. It was 2 knockouts, one boxing and one with a head kick. Amazing. So I can see those guys. I don't know those countries. I don't know particular, but I can tell. It's funny, man, the way those guys train, they push a little more. It sounds like they wanted to say, okay, we're here. We came from there, and we want to put our country on the MMA world. And they kind of like push themselves a little more in the training and in the fights, you know. And I can see this happen. I can see a lot of Middle Eastern countries coming to MMA and showing like, okay, we're here.
It's very true. It's like, it's just a matter of how we're going to develop it. If the UFC or like other organizations put like performance institutes there, that is the key. That's how you really foster homegrown talent. Like we see Ngannou as the African heavyweight champion. If Kamaru Usman, who's Nigerian, you have Israel Adesanya is from Nigeria, but he's from New Zealand. But just having Ngannou and the heavyweight champ, which is like the crown jewel, like the heavyweight title is not just some like feat.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you the biggest problem of those countries is that they have sometimes, not always, they don't have them, you know, that many good coaches like we have in US and other countries that are more developed. Okay. The good coaches, they move out of the countries. Why? Because on those countries, they don't have the same reception that they have when they come to a developed country. This is the biggest problem. That's why if you look at Brazil right now, how many UFC champions we have now from Brazil?
Well, Oliveira, like there's the whole controversy with him. There's Nunes
Oliveira,
in the featherweight.
That's 1, 2, 3, right? If I'm not wrong. The little guy.
Oh, Davis and Figueiredo. Yes, flyweight. Yeah.
So we have 3. That's it.
I'd say 3. Even though Charles had his little weight cut issue, he's really the champ. It's just like there's like a whole controversy.
So we have 3 champions. At one point, I remember having 5, 6. Okay, and on Bellator and on other organizations, we had a bunch of Brazilians winning. So right now, you don't see that many Brazilians winning. Yes, they're winning. I'm talking about you don't see that many comparing to how it was before. Before it was like those legion of Brazilians beating everyone up. Okay, so what started to happen is we don't have the same recognition that we have in Brazil that we have in US. Okay, or other countries. I'm not talking about just US. I'm talking about countries that, okay, you're a good coach, come to us, we're gonna take care of you. In Brazil, it's totally the opposite. Unfortunately, the politicians just want to steal money from the government and not give it back to anyone. It's money laundering and all that. This president that we have now is the first one that is not corrupt. People complain that he doesn't have a structure or whatever, but he's honest. He's not corrupt. But we our whole life we had corrupt politicians. So nobody ever invests in sports in Brazil unless it's an Olympian sport that they can take money from. So if there's money involved that they can make the money back, they will invest. But it's kind of like money laundering, okay? The politicians will go, oh, I'll give you money, but you have to give me a percentage back. That's how I'm going to help you. And unfortunately, that makes people run away from Brazil. So most of the big coaches now are here. So now, instead of the Brazilians that they're having professional and infrastructural training, they're having less and less. So what I think it should happen to those countries that they could develop a very high end like MMA training. I think the government should invest on that, bringing good coaches to coach a team like China. China did that. China brought coaches from all over the world to train their fighters. And now you see on the UFC how many Chinese people are fighting. So you know who did that too? Mexico. They actually UFC invested in Mexican fighters, bringing them to New Mexico, bringing them to Texas, bringing them to places so they can get like wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing. They could have high-end training, not just boxing, because we know that Mexicans are good boxers, but jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and everything. And you see now how many Mexican fighters we have, making noise on the world. So this is what I think all those countries should do to bring, if they want it, to bring MMA high on their countries. That's the only way that's going to develop. Because I see a very slow moving if they don't do that.
Makes sense. Another thing I wanted to ask you about Brazil, because I've spoken to other people about this. Like I've spoken with Andre about this. Another guest was Victor Silverio, who's out in California. I wanted to ask you because you're Brazilian. The thing with the Brazilian fighters is a lot of them, I'm going to be careful with my wording here because it's a sensitive topic. When they become champions, some of them don't make the effort to learn English. And I think that hurts their star power because for me, the Brazilian star that I remember the most was Vitor Belfort because Vitor learned English. Do you feel that the champions, if they're going to make their brand bigger, you're a businessman, you own a school, but if they're a business themselves, if they learn English, like Charles Oliveira, he's never learned a word of English and he lives in Texas of all places. Do you feel that hurts them moving forward if they don't?
Well, 100%, because for the martial arts fan, it doesn't matter. They just see your performance. Doesn't matter if you are speaking Portuguese or English. But remember, the biggest percentage of fans of MMA events, especially the UFC, they're not fighters. They just like to watch, like WWE fans, like A1 fans, like Pride fans. They just like to watch. They're not doing martial arts. Some of them are, but most of them don't do martial arts. So they wanted to engage with that fighter, so they want to understand not just their way they fight, but their personality. So if you don't show your personality, they're not gonna like you, because they don't understand what you're saying. They don't understand if you're being cocky or if you're being respectful, because it's in another language. So you can't show your feelings and who you are if you're not speaking in a language that the basic fan is listening. So that definitely hurts their business. They're gonna have less fan base. And today in the world, you are who you are with the number of followers you have. So if you have a number of followers, you're going to be fighting for the belt. If you don't have, you're going to be, trying hard. You're going to go there a lot slower than if you have a fan base, And I'm not talking shit on any show. I'll do that. If I have a business, I wanted to put, in my business, I want to bring people that are going to make noise. I don't want to bring people that don't have followers, because I want to be successful in my business, So you see, Jake Paul is not a boxer, never fought boxing on his life. He trained, he's tough. But come on, fighting Mayweather, how are you going to step ahead of so many boxers that had a chance to be able to be on the ring with Mayweather? This guy, a YouTuber, and he's stepping with one of the greatest boxers ever, just because he can bring money to the table because of his followers. If people don't learn with that, I'm sorry, you have to die and born, in 2050, because then you're gonna know that this is what's happening today. I know that. I hate, but I know that I have to do that. I do maybe 3 or 4 videos on my Instagram per class, because if I don't, I know my name is not going to be out there.
Very true. It's all about marketing and putting yourself out there and getting a bit, vulnerable. And, now I want to take it to this question. So you said, you're in Philadelphia. When I looked you up, you also had a school like in another state before. I think it was Michigan, and then you moved to Philly. So what made you choose the city of brotherly love? Was it the cheesesteak?
I have affiliations in others. They're not my school. My school is in Philly. My school is always in Philly. Yeah, and I have my students move, and then they ask me to open with my name, and they open with my name. Of same thing. I consider my schools. I consider them my team, so it's the same thing. But my academy is in Philly. So the reason I end up here is my ex-wife is from Philly. Okay, so we tried to move to Brazil with our kids, and work out. We get there. It was a mess. Not because of Brazil. It was a mess because what was happening. Like I had some personal things going on in Brazil, and I couldn't stay there. But when we came back, we didn't know where to go. So she said, well, my father lives in Philly, and he's inviting us to go there until we find a place to go to. Like we choose whatever state you want to open a school, and we go. I'm like, okay. So we stop in Philly. And when we're in Philly, I started to train a few fighters while I was staying in Philly, because I needed to train, and I didn't have to train. So some friends that I had getting me in touch with Julio Rosario. He owns a jiu-jitsu academy here in Fox Chase. It's Semper Fi MMA. And I started to go. That's where I met Sean Brady. Sean Brady was one of his blue belts.
Really?
Yeah. So I went to his school, and I started to teach jiu-jitsu and MMA. And just for training. I wanted to train. And I remember I used to get on the L train. Ghetto. I'm like, ghetto. Bad. Okay.
Like the Rocky 5 scene where they moved to back to Philly, like that kind of ghetto?
No, yeah, exactly. So It was 10 years ago. Let me tell you, it was bad. Today's bad, but on that time it was even worse. So I used to train, you know, hidden on, like, always with my back to the window, never giving my back to the door. Like, I'm from Rio de Janeiro. Come on, I have to be street smart. So I would go to the end, to the last station. I don't remember which station it was, near Northeast Philly. He would pick me up driving. Julio would pick me up, and then I'll go to his school and I'll train fighters there. So my father started to fight Cage Fury, CFF. And of course, they start to crush everyone. They start to win. And now I go to Julio's academy to teach a class, and I see like 10 more people and 20 more people and 30 more people. Like, well, what's going on? Like, so people are hearing about the way we're training, and they're coming to us to train with us. So at one point, I go, man, this, like, getting in the ghetto train, you know, going all the way there, teaching, and having to come back at night tired. I don't know, maybe it's going to be an easier idea if I open a school, start to teach near where I live. And then if I have to go somewhere after and put one of my black belts to teach, I'll do it. So I'm going to open a business. And I call Rob Haydack, the guy that owns Cage Fury. And he actually invested in a school for me. He opened a jiu-jitsu school for me. And that's when I start to teach jiu-jitsu and MMA. And our team went like this and never. I'm going to tell you when we stopped. I had already, on that time, I had Jonathan Webb, Paul Felder, and Daryl Horcher on the UFC on that time.
So you're the one that gave Paul Felder his purple belt.
Yes, Paul. I put Paul in the UFC.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Paul's first, second, third, maybe 5 fights on the UFC, undefeated. It was with me. It was training with me. I'm gonna tell you when things went down again was because I get a proposal to move out of Philly to Massachusetts to open 20 jiu-jitsu schools.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about big money, big dream, big everything. And I said, I'm not going to abandon those guys. You know, I created a structure for them to come and train with me in Massachusetts. On that time, I spoke to Mark Delagrati. Mm-hmm. Mark Delagrati was going to be their striking coach. I was going to be the jiu-jitsu coach and MMA coach. And look, again.
It happens.
And I have no idea how to not respond. So we have to wait.
Yeah, it's fine. It's cool. It's cool. It happens. I mean, like, yeah, like one thing I do too is like I put my phone on do not disturb too. Like, hey, look, it was like right before we recorded, because it's like, okay, I got Daniel Gracie on. I said I will, and I have to put my phone on do not disturb. So like I told like all my friends, I said, guys, I said from like for the next hour or so, I said I'm gonna be like unreachable. I said I'm in a very important conference call.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, I'll teach you after. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do it. Okay.
Yeah. So I had that structure mounted in Massachusetts for them to come and train, and I don't know, like they didn't come. Jonathan Webb came. Sean Brady came with me. There was a few guys that came to train with me there, but he ended up the business that I was going to do there didn't work out, and I came back to Philly. So I reset, and I said, I'm not going to leave Philly, and I'm not going to abandon Philly again. I know I can do the same thing that I did on that time. I'm going to do it again. I already had fighters that trained with me. So it's not that Sean just started to train with me. Sean has been training with me since then. You know, we're talking about 8 years ago. So I came back to Philly. I called them and I said, look, I'm going back to Philly. I'm going to be going New York, Philly. And I'm going to bring that MMA team again. And we did. And you see what's going on right now. It's like, that's the second run. And I know that people are going to say, oh, you're not undefeated at the UFC because Paul Felder lost. John Webb lost. We undefeated on the second run on the UFC. Okay. We are undefeated. We are 15-0 right now.
Yeah. I'm impressed, man. He's really, So like, cause I added you, cause I found you on Twitter too, cause I'm back on Twitter. I'm giving it one last shot with Twitter because Elon Musk bought it. So I have faith in Elon. And like you were talking about like how like Sean is like seen as the dark horse. And I definitely agree with that. I think there's two dark horses. There's him because we've only seen his grappling, but man, I want to see his striking. And there's another dark horse, and his name is Shavkat Rakhmonov, who's fighting on Saturday. He's fighting Neil Magny. And I say, these are the two fighters that you need to watch out for in 170. And it's like, it's Sean and Shavkat, but more Sean.
15-0. They're both undefeated.
Yeah, no, isn't it crazy? Like, it's like, and everyone's like, you're only a fan of the Shavkat guy. And I'm like, it's like, I saw this guy debut at UFC 254 on Khabib's last career fight. So when he wears that hat and he says, my favorite animal is a horse, what's your favorite food? I like eating horse. That's a bad motherfucker. You could swear too, by the way. That's a bad motherfucker that's there. And then you got Sean from Philly. Like, he's a Philly bad BMF. You can't mess with the Philly BMFers.
No, you can't. Exactly. Like, let me tell you, this is one of the things that I noticed, and I knew I could do it again. I could make that second run and have all those guys winning on the UFC. Well, the first time I came, like, it was, look, a very short amount of time that I built those fighters. So I knew I could do it again. Mm-hmm. Like, here they have that. For me, like, when we go to MMA, you need a little switch. You need you need a little anger on you. You need a little, mm-hmm. to be aggressive. And I know people from Philly are like that, like Donald Trump. I actually made a shirt and a gi. The inside of the gi say bad things happen in Philly. When people, I did an interview for MTV in Brazil one time, and then the guy asked me what makes Brazilian fighters different, why they're so good, why. And we are in the middle of one of the favelas, the slums. And I said, look around you and you're going to see why they're tough. Why, they want to show the world, like, yeah, I came from a place like that. And, I succeed. That's what they want. So people that live in places like that, they have a little harder life. That's going to show on the fights. That's going to show them, that it gives you a little more personality than if you born on Disneyland. You know what I'm talking about? You're going to be soft. If you're born in a place that you don't have to be worried fighting all the time, you don't have to be worried with, people doing some shit from behind you, like, jumping on you or something. It makes you hard. It makes you a little more street smart. It makes you a little more fighting smart. Mm-hmm. You can relax. When you can relax the whole time, that makes you like a little more dangerous than normal. And this is what's happening in Philly. Like, they know that, and they wanted to, let's show the world that we came from here.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. Also, I'm from Quebec in Canada, so I'm from Montreal. Montreal's got very harsh winters. So yeah, you got like it's the toughness, like a lot of crime and maybe more grit. But I'd say harsh winters that are in Philly too. If you're from the East Coast, those winters, man, they build character. Like, it's they build 100. Character too.
There was like that. What's the name? It's kind of like a quote that people say: "Go one time to Hawaii, but come back before you get soft. Go one time to New York and come back before you get hard." Right? So it's just like, wherever you grow, it's gonna give you that personality from where you are. So people that grew up in soft place, I'm not saying that they can't be fighters. They can. A fighter can come from anywhere, but growing up in a place like that is tough is gonna make you a little tougher.
It does. Oh, it really does. So taking it to toughness and philosophy, you do a very good job. I've watched some of your videos like on Instagram, but also like there was a YouTube content creator. I forgot his name. It was like he was filming like how you train. Yes, you bring an honest personality, but when I watch you teach, you're very gentle in your approach. And what do you think makes your philosophy popular with new students or experienced students?
Well, the thing is, I can't teach. That's the thing. Like, some people are going to be different learners than others. Okay. Some people learn fast. Some people learn slow. And if I don't learn with jiu-jitsu how to do that, it's going to be hard to be successful in what you do. So one example that I give today is like the guy becomes a world champion, and when he opens a jiu-jitsu school, everybody goes train with him, thinking that they're going to be the next champion. It's not like that. You have to know how to teach, and how you know how to teach is understanding people's pros and cons. Everybody's going to have a pro, everybody's going to have a con. Everybody's going to have something they can do best. If they're flexible, they're tall, they're fat, they're skinny, however your body is built, okay? This is how you're going to build your character in fighting, okay? You can't play jiu-jitsu as a short guy if you're a long guy. You can't play jiu-jitsu as a long guy if you're a short guy. So I didn't learn that by myself. I learned with Renzo. I learned with my cousin Renzo. Renzo is the best one on that. Okay, understanding body types, body limitations, and all that. So for me to teach jiu-jitsu is easy. Of course, I did my whole life. So like nowadays you have champions, you don't have teachers. It's hard to find good teachers today. You're gonna see guys winning tournaments, but they're not gonna be good teachers. But on my time, jiu-jitsu was about not just learning jiu-jitsu to fight, but it was learning jiu-jitsu to teach. So everyone that grew up in my generation knew how to teach. Biggest difference. We learned how to teach. We didn't learn only how to fight, how to compete. We learned both. And now they see that. And that's why you see me teaching like that. Now, for me to teach MMA coming from a jiu-jitsu background, it's easy. A lot easier than teaching jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is complicated to learn. It takes a little while till you create a muscle memory to learn jiu-jitsu. But to learn MMA is easy. If I get a good wrestler, boom, there. I can teach this guy in 1 year, he's going to be UFC level. 1 year, I promise you. People can say whatever. I know in 1 year, no. I can put a guy, a good wrestler, you know, that has at least knows some hands. In 1 year, I can put that guy on the UFC level. Now, why? Because I've been through everything. I suck as an MMA fighter. I came straight from jiu-jitsu to MMA. Had no striking, had no wrestling. I had only jiu-jitsu. And I learned with my fights, and I learned with the training. And the grind was hard, but I learned because I had jiu-jitsu in my life. So I knew how to use my muscle memory. And with my experience, it's easy to pass through my students. It's very easy because I made the mistakes that I don't want them to make now. That's why people don't understand why we're growing so fast. We're growing fast because I've been there. I know what I need to do. You know, I know what I can't do. This is the main thing.
Very true. I like the point too, where you said there's a difference between teaching fast and teaching slow. And when I say teaching slow, we're seeing a lot of parents now, because I'm sure you've had students with special needs, say autism, ADHD, ADD. And someone asks me, like, what do you recommend? Because I too am on the spectrum mildly. I have what's called, it could be called Asperger's, it could be called pervasive developmental delay, whatever it is. It's like, I don't let it hamper me, because it's like I found my niches of what I'm good at. But when you get a special needs student, Daniel, do you feel you're learning from them too of how they're going to proceed with the art?
Yeah, 100%. Because remember, like this is the thing, like it's easier to you teach something to a special need kid or student if you're not touching them. What you have is exactly the problem with the touch. So how you train jiu-jitsu if you don't like people touching, people putting. So this is actually a mental work. And we developed things with jiu-jitsu in how to teach them. Like for me, one thing, ADD for me doesn't exist. Okay. ADD every kid has.
They do have it, yeah. I probably have it. It's just energy.
So, and it's happening more and more. I'm going to tell you why. It's getting worse. Why? Because parents are not raising their kids now. Parents are just putting the kid in front of a iPad or an iPhone, putting, video games, introducing a lot earlier. Like on my time, kids wouldn't see a video game until they're like 12, 13. They have the mental develop already. Now they're babies, they're already with a phone in front of them. And creating a issue like putting a pacifier on your kid every time he cries. Of course, the kid is going to get addicted to the pacifier. So now kids are getting addicted to phones. They're getting too much information. Their brain is not developed yet to get that much information. Okay. So what's happening now is kids lose the interest in talking to you. They are more interested in looking on the phone. And then when the parent take that kid to a doctor, the doctor is going to say, yes, he has ADD. Of course he has ADD. Instead of you talking to them, engaging with the kid, hugging the kid and being a father, you putting the fucking kid in front of a computer, in front of a video game, in front of a telephone when they're 1 year old. What do you think is going to happen? Come on,
Very true.
So you want to keep them busy until you do something, put them to martial arts. Put them to do something that's going to develop their brain, not fuck their brain, So so just bring it back to where we're saying martial arts 100% is the best thing for kids that have attention disorder, movement disorder, like anything. I think any type of autism would be better treated with martial arts. Of course, there's levels of autism, but I think any martial art will help them to get better.
I agree. I'm a very big proponent of it. Like I'm an example. Like I use my platform as an example too. I say, look, I'd be like, you think you have it bad. Like I'm going to tell them, I said, don't feel like you're worthless. I said, you do have a key role in society. You're going to find it. It might take some time. For example, it took me to find martial arts and podcasting. And now it's like, I'm talking to you. I've talked to Nima. I've talked to like pro fighters. And I want to use that as an example to say, you can't let others dictate your hand dealt. Yes, we're all dealt difficult hands. Coming from Philly, you have to play the hand accordingly. And if you play the hand accordingly, then things start to happen.
Exactly. And again, the main thing is to, have the mental strength of accepting and turning the thing into a positive. This is exactly what we do here with the fighters. Accept that, like, yes, you're here. You're in a fucked up place, but now let's get the positive from that. When you're fighting, think about how you're gonna get out, how you're gonna make your life better. It's showing that you really want that, and then the results will come, of course.
Exactly. You've done such an amazing job, especially with Philadelphia, and you're really changing the lives of others. What do you hope your legacy to be? You've done your fighting, you did what you could, but now as a teacher, as you're planting the seeds in the next generation that come, what do you hope to build with the youth of Philadelphia as they continue to look at martial arts and start developing their human potential through it?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm gonna give an example. Like we've been doing this, we're making noise for a long time, and I'm not gonna say just us because the Dalkus brothers also they're doing a great job. The Martinez BJJ, they're doing a great job with those fighters. But since we start to make noise, since we start to bring those Philly fighters, to the high end in the UFC, how many times we get in touch, someone get in touch with us from local news or newspaper or whatever news in Philly, news channel. How many people came to talk to us?
Too many? What? Zero.
So there was an article on the UFC.com talking about what we're doing when we were 14-0. Now we're 15-0. Philly Inquirer came, and we actually waiting for an article to go out on us. But we're talking about this all these years working and making people win in the top level organization that is the UFC. We are undefeated, and now after all this, we get one news. I think the newspaper, Philly Inquirer is a newspaper. One of them came to talk to us just now. So how we're gonna change things if you're not helping develop mental strength, body, and like what they do is this: let them kill each other. Oh, Philly is a ghetto. Philly, oh, don't go there; it's dangerous. People killing each other. Oh yeah, they have the biggest number of drug addicts in the world. So how are we going to change that if we're not presenting to a kid growing up in a school? Okay, this is jiu-jitsu, this is karate, this is a martial art. We're not presenting that early in the age. How can we change the place? Instead of that, what they're building more, instead of building a training center, something that develops sports, they're putting more methadone clinics.
Wrong. It's very wrong. Would you be for also, like, if they if let's say, for example, you also ran on a political platform, you know, politics is a very dirty game. But let's say, for example, if they said to you, Daniel, we have a problem with the youth. There's a lot of at-risk youth here, you know, coming from broken homes. And would you be for putting martial arts, mandating martial arts in schools for physical education?
100%. Let me tell you, if this happened, the world will be better. There's going to be less wars. People, this is the problem. Martial arts make you humble. Humble human being. It's a better human being. Human understand the value of life. You know, they understand the value of friendship. They understand the value of respect, hierarchy. It's going to be a better human being. It's going to understand that doing bad things is not okay. Biggest problem, we grew up here not having this kind of education from the parents, because the parents are already using drugs, or they are, you know, fuck this, fuck that in front of the kid. Like there's like cursing and being aggressive. Some of them beat up their kids. It's a bunch of problems that we grew up, or not we grew up, but kids grew up in places like that. That is just going to make it worse. So if there is not a situation that can change them when they're little kids, it's not going to happen. When they're here, you look at the teenagers in Philly when they're 14, 15. I'm afraid of them. I'm afraid of them. They're not teenagers. Don't look at them like they're teenagers. They can kill you. So if a politician comes in and mandate martial arts in schools, I would tell you in 2 or 3 years, you see results already. 2 or 3. Look at Abu Dhabi. Look at Abu Dhabi, Dubai, where jiu-jitsu is mandatory. Look at the kids. I went there now. It was like amazing, amazing. See all those little kids doing jiu-jitsu since they start in kindergarten. Mandatory. They have to do it. It's a class for jiu-jitsu that they have to do it every day.
Do you credit your cousin Henzo for that? Because there's a story that Henzo met with like some of the royal family, and then they were really amazed with the philosophy of jiu-jitsu.
100%. 100%. Henzo has a big thing on that.
That's amazing.
When his conversations with Sheikh Tarnoon, they get into, you know, ideas, and he said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it mandatory in my country. And now it is. And now they're already seeing champions coming out of there, jiu-jitsu champions coming out of the Emirates.
It's amazing. So why,
we're a developed country, why you can't do that? Why cops here don't learn jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, exactly.
But I like this. Those are things that, like, what's happening? It's politics. Are you guys afraid of training jiu-jitsu? Are you not humble enough to learn jiu-jitsu? What's going on? Like, when you go, especially here, because in Brazil, there's no fighting if you're a cop and a drug dealer. Here, you see happening all the time. People engaging in fights, but not in Brazil. People just in Brazil, they shoot. They'll shoot, okay? But here people fight. And you see all the time. The thing that just happened with George Floyd wouldn't happen if that cop was a jiu-jitsu guy. Oh, bullshit. It wouldn't be worse. It would be better, because you understand that he was hurting that guy's neck. If you do that everyday training, you know how to control. That guy had no idea what he was doing. He had no idea that he was choking that guy.
Or the Rodney King. If the cops knew jiu-jitsu instead of beating Rodney King, maybe we would have not had those riots.
100%. 100%. That's what people don't understand. They're thinking that if they know more, they're gonna be more aggressive. They're not. They're not. I think right now in the US, we need jiu-jitsu to be mandatory to law enforcement. And we in Philly, nothing. In New Jersey, they started. Now it's mandatory in New Jersey. It's PA. I think PA.
Yeah.
It's PA. No, it's Pennsylvania. That
Pennsylvania is like you're in Pennsylvania. So for you guys, it's Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. That's Pennsylvania.
No. I know. I'm saying Pennsylvania. I think is mandatory now. Jiu-jitsu or New Jersey. Something like that. Something like that. Nobody ever came looking for me, to ask for help. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like the thing is, at one point, they're taking the power from the police away. So the do anything anymore. People are getting more aggressive towards them, and they don't know how to defend themselves. So I don't know. At one point, we're just gonna let the city for bad guys to do whatever they want.
It's like a DC Marvel movie, but in the alternate universe where like the asylums.
Exactly. So I wish actually you're talking about my legacy. I wish I could help more. Like I wish people could come and learn jiu-jitsu, understand the philosophy, become better human beings, and then having be able to start something that could change some kids' lives.
Yeah. Calls coming in again. It happens. Don't worry, people. Yeah. Just continue. What you're saying, you wanted to continue you want to impact the lives of kids, basically?
Kids and the law enforcement, anything that I could leave that could help them, develop something that would be good, would be beneficial for the future. Because that's even if you start now, it's late already. We have to start soon. So again, I don't know who do I have to get in touch with. Politician, like who can do that? Should be something that we could spread all over the world instead of just one place.
Exactly, but you start one, and then it spreads like a wave, and then that's what you have to do. You start somewhere, and then waves. And so now, take it to another positive point, because that was very good how you said how you want your legacy to be, and I think a lot can take from that, and that's what I hope too with this conversation. So I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions, okay? So they're going to be simple, but so you just got to be ready. So what's the best Philly cheesesteak place in Philadelphia if I come to Philly?
I like Joe's.
Joe's?
Steak. Yeah, I like Joe's.
Okay.
Now, they're all good. Reality, they're all good, but they all claim to be the best. Every one of them is the same taste. It's all the same thing, but again, they all claim to be the best. But personally, I like Joe's steak. Okay.
And when it comes to other sports, Philadelphia Flyers or Pittsburgh Penguins?
Flyers, of course. No, I'm a Flyers fan and an Eagles fan.
Oh, you're a loyal man. I love that. Okay. Okay. When it comes to vacationing, okay, Emirates or Asia, like Japan, China, those countries?
Definitely Japan.
Okay.
Japan is one of the best places ever. Like, I love Japan.
Okay. Here's a good one for film series: James Bond or Star Wars?
Star Wars. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Okay. And lastly, when it comes to surf spots, Hawaii or Brazil?
Brazil. Let me tell you, there's Brazil and like Rio de Janeiro. There is no other country like my country. My country is the best country in the world. My city is the most beautiful and the most exciting city in the world. Rio de Janeiro. I've been all over the world. There is no place like Rio. No place like Rio.
I'm going to go there in the future. That's a fanatic. And since the way you presented it to me, you promoted it, I'm going there.
Everyone had to go one day. I'm gonna start to do jiu-jitsu camps there, and then you can come.
Perfect. I love it. I mean, I'll be a white belt because I do striking because my goal is to get my black belt in karate, and then.
I'm a Kyokushin karate fan. I love Kyokushin karate.
Are you serious, dude? You're gonna I'm gonna make a reel of this. You're gonna get like 1,000 more fans probably.
Let me tell you, I try to sometimes to teach my guys some Kyokushin karate conditioning, and they think it's a joke. They really think that I'm not being serious. I can get a kick to the thigh right now, and I'm not gonna feel it just because of my Kyokushin karate training. Mm-hmm. The conditioning, I used to go and train with a few fighters. That's where I met Glauber Feitosa there when I went to train. So I had a Muay Thai instructor in Brazil named Eduardo Pamplona. He was one of our jiu-jitsu guys, but he was a very good Muay Thai guy. And he took me to train on the training center in São Paulo, where Glauber Feitosa and Francisco Filho, where they used to come and train. Mm-hmm. So Paulo Zorello used to be there too. Like some guys that train kickboxing, Muay Thai, Kyokushin, all together in one place. And I used to go there and train with them. And the conditioning was all Kyokushin karate conditioning, kicking sandbag, getting kicked to the neck 100 times, getting hit getting hit on the arms. And I told people, I said, this works. Is not just fake like that you see in movies. This works. And we did sometimes. I actually started to do it with them. I have to do it again. Actually, you remind me, I have to start to do it again. Now until today, okay, long time I'm going to do it. If you kick my leg, I'm going to be able to eat the kick. I'm going to be able to hold the kick just because of my Kyokushin karate training. Wow,
that's amazing. I hope you introduce it to Sean Brady, and then Sean Brady, when he becomes the top 2 contender and then champion, you're going to be like,
for me, best strike. If you tell me who's the best striker in the world ever for you, mm-hmm. and the best one that I ever seen in my life.
Best one I've ever seen. That's a very tough. Okay. So it's a toss up.
Huh?
It's a toss up. Okay, because there's like 4 guys I have who are the best strikers. Okay, I would say Vitor for the boxing, because Vitor did have amazing boxing.
No, I'm not talking about MMA. I'm talking about martial arts in general.
Oh, okay, strikers. I would say Glauber Feitosa for the question mark kick he invented. Like, that's him. And I would also put Andy Hug.
Andy Hug is the best. Mm-hmm. Andy Hug for me. Like, he was not a big guy.
No.
He was small, and he was fucking people up, and they were big guys, like I'm telling you, I love to watch him killing all those big guys with the technique. You remember him and Mike Bernardo when he did a spinning back kick to the back knee on Mike Bernardo, when Mike Bernardo was like limping and switched stance, mm-hmm. and he spinning back kick with the heel to his knee on the back knee. That's magic. Are you kidding me? For me, he was the best. Ramon Decker too. Ramon Decker was really good, but Ramon Decker was not a Kyokushin karate guy. But Kyokushin karate, Andy Hug for me the best one ever.
Well, when I was talking with Costello Van Stennis from Bellator, he's a middleweight contender in Bellator. He was telling me that in Holland, because you see Ramon Deckers, a lot of the Holland kids have a Kyokushin background. They use it as a base to then go into the other to add to their skill set after. So it's definitely a very good martial art to start with, as well as wrestling and BJJ.
Yeah, that's the main thing is that today is a very big mixed. That's the thing. There is traditional martial arts, traditional striking to every that you can have, but now it's a mix. So now you see boxers that know how to kick, kickboxers that know how to do karate kicks and things like that. Even capoeira, people, introducing to MMA. Now the mixed martial art is mixed martial art. Before it wasn't. Now it is. Now everybody knows everything. And you can take a little bit of everything. You can take good things from every martial art, every striking. But one of the things that You know, the only thing I don't like it in MMA is like that. Some people they kind of like split whatever because I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. They think I'm a jiu-jitsu coach. No, I'm not a striker. I know how to strike. I've been doing that my whole life. I learned from the best, and I know how to coach you to strike and knock people out. Okay. And one thing that happened in US is not in anywhere else. It's here. Is like they label you like wrestling coach. Wait a minute, our wrestling coach is one of my brown belts. Cody. He's also the wrestling coach of Demian Maia. Okay. So a guy that's a brown belt of mine is gonna be good in jiu-jitsu. Not a wrestling coach. He's not just a wrestling coach. I'm not just a jiu-jitsu coach. Fuck you. You can do boxing your whole life. I can train someone to knock your ass out. You know? So understand the game today. Everybody knows everything. And I can teach you how to strike. I can teach you how to wrestle. I can teach you jiu-jitsu. And I know there's some strikers out there that can do the same thing that I'm doing. You know? So just understand the game and you will succeed. That's it.
Very, very true. And I guess we'll conclude it here. So Daniel, I want to thank you so much for coming on. This was such a big honor. That you took time out of your day. I had such a fun time. It felt like I was talking to a friend forever. Where can people connect with you if they ever want to like learn about you, or they want to learn BJJ, or if they want to take the professional fighter route?
Well, let me tell you, of course, if you research, you're gonna find our schools in Philly. But my Instagram, Daniel Gracie. My Instagram is Daniel Gracie BJJ. Where we train the MMA, where is Marquez MMA, Daniel Gracie team. That's John's school. That's where we do the MMA. Of course, the MMA guys come to train here with me. But I'm all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Every day I post videos of my classes. Again, because I understand that today, if you don't do that, you're not going to have any students. So I'm a pretty, like, not that I like it. I don't like to be that active on social media, but I have to, you know, so I'm there. So again, you want to find me, just go on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and you know what's going on. And I'm going to start. I used to teach positions, and I stopped. During the pandemic, I was doing a lot, but now I stopped. So I'm going to start to do it again once a week to place one of the positions that I'm showing here.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, once again, everyone, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, follow to Daniel Gracie. Look him up on the platforms you mentioned. If you love this conversation, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drewsperience. We're only growing. It doesn't matter if you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kyokushin, kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, luta livre, Muay Thai. Just hit the like, share, subscribe, share it. We're growing because martial arts is the true global sport, not soccer. Sorry, soccer, but martial arts is vastly growing.
Yeah, exactly.